Welcome to the Infinite Prosperity Podcast. I'm Louisa Havers, and here we explore the energetics of wealth, leadership, and living your highest potential. If you love what you hear, hit subscribe and leave a quick review so more people can find this work. Right, let's dive into this week's episode. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Infinite Prosperity Podcast. I'm your host, Louisa Havers, and today we're diving into a profound conversation. I think this is essential for every entrepreneur and coach who wants to break through their financial ceiling and truly create lasting wealth. And we're going to, as you know, we talk a lot about wealth energetics and business growth and alignment, but today we're taking this a step further into the practical side of wealth building. And I am honored to welcome today's guest, the fabulous Lorna Poole. Lorna is a wealth certified coach who specializes in supporting established female coaches in starting their investment journey, building assets, creating true financial freedom so that they can put their money to work and live life on their terms. A huge welcome, Lorna, to the show.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. And I love Louisa because you really live life on your terms. So I think this is just it's going to be a beautiful conversation.
Oh, I'm so delighted to reconnect with you here and for us to have this conversation. Let's start at the beginning. I would love for us to dive into, how are you doing what you're doing now? Tell us the journey. Did you have any sort of key moments along the way where you're like, this is what I'm here to do?
Yes, I did. It came in a negative way. So actually my father used to say to us when we were growing up how important it was to set ourselves up securely for the future. He never told us how. And growing up, there was a lot of fear around money, a lot of negativity, all the things, money don't grow on trees, da da da. But in 2014, he passed away. And when he passed away, there was nothing in place for my mum. My mom was very typical of that older generation where the man's the breadwinner. She was dependent on him for money, didn't trust or believe in herself. And there was nothing in place. So I realized on the back of that actually a lot of people end up in this situation. You become a mom and then you're working part-time, you're starting your business, or maybe you have an established business, but you're so focused on the income, you put this on the back burner. So there's a real need for women to take charge of their financial future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. I think there is so many people that are not looking at things earlier on in their lifetime to be able to make that big impact. And then how on earth do you get started? What do you do and all the things? And I think so often in the online space, what we also see is that people are really focused on making money, but then few are really thinking about what happens next. How do we grow it and sustain it? What do you see as the biggest mindset shift that then is needed for people when they're moving into that space, when it comes to actually building true wealth?
Shifting your energy to I build a seven-figure net worth rather than a seven-figure profitable business. Because the net worth is what's sustainable. When you do that right, you've infinite income coming in and you can go live your life on your terms. So a lot of us are sold the lifestyle and all that, and I'm not saying don't go for that. Um, but knowing what's wealthy to you and directing, like, wealth is created on what you do with the money. People think it's the income, it's what you do with the money after it comes in, and how you're directing that is and setting yourself up securely that you really can have financial freedom at any age. But what are you doing with that money after it comes in?
That's so key. I feel like there were some mic drop moments there, Lorna. So having that mindset and identity around having a seven-figure net worth, that is powerful because you're absolutely right. I do see so many people focusing on having a seven-figure mindset, which is going to take you so far. But of course, within that, you're working it rather than the money coming to you. I think that's a really, really important energetic shift. So being able to be in that role of wealth creator rather than working hard for money or working smart for money, because so often people are making that shift, aren't they, from actually I've got to let go of working hard to being able to allow it to be a little bit more easy and to work more efficiently. So how do you help women shift their relationship with money from that aspect around focusing on the income to the wealth build the building? What are some of the practicalities that you focus on?
Yeah, I'll just share one thing first and I'll get to the relationship with money. Like the big piece, the big shift around the okay, I build a seven-figure net worth is I pay my assets first.
That's
Because
huge.
assets have got to what assets do is they grow in value, they grow in income, and that's what's going to provide for you. So when you have and the shift of my money gets to work for me. Most business entrepreneur, what we do, if we're not there, it won't work without us. Even if you're taught, and I know it's very popular right now, have this reoccurring income, which is fantastic, passive income. But if you don't sales and market it, it's not passive. So it really is about those fundamentals of how do I put my money to work and get going? And your relationship money is such a huge part of that. So like being comfortable that it is possible for me to create a seven-figure net worth. It is possible for me to be financially free and by this timeline. Um, your capacity for that, the belief it's possible for you, like all those the patterns you have about money. Some people can be really good in their money personally, but they're dysfunctional in their business because they say to themselves, "Oh, but it's my business. I'm investing in my business," and they're putting the wealth piece on the back burner. So it's really huge how you think about yourself and money. And I know, Louisa, you support people and you're amazing at energetics with money. Like it's such a huge piece. That story that's playing out is either leading you to your financial freedom or it's holding you back.
Absolutely. I think it's key to, so often people will say, but I want to focus on the impact that I'm here to make. And that's why you need to focus on your relationship with money, because you are not going to make the biggest impact that you can potentially make unless you have the most evolved relationship with money and all the different nuances that come along the way. Like you were talking about that seven-figure mindset to that seven-figure net worth identity, that energetically, there's an incredible shift in relation to that. And just as whilst we're here on this aspect of that relationship with money, what are some of the common beliefs and fears that you see that hold people from stepping back into that true financial freedom? Because I'm interested to see, because of course I see this too, so we can compare the patterns that we're both recognizing in the work that we do. Because I think this is really helpful for people to kind of go, that's the little nuance that I need to pay attention to.
Yeah, before I get to that, I want to share I do an exercise with people that's really powerful. And I just literally came off a call before this, and the lady did the exercise. You really gotta know what are the three biggest beliefs, behaviors, and patterns you have with money. Like what's unconsciously running the show. And she just did the exercise, and what came up for her was her relationship with men and how she had gotten the messaging as a child in childhood that someone's coming to save her, but she became super independent instead, and is just carrying everybody, and that is playing out in her life with money. So some of the things I commonly see is avoidance.
Tell me more about that. What do you see in relation to avoidance?
So when someone starts putting their money to work and investing and all. The big piece is being in truth with where you are with your money. So looking under the car hood, if you want to call it that, and really being honest with yourself of what is your money actually going towards, and is that supporting your wealth? So that is huge, especially as entrepreneurs. We're investing heavily in mentorship, and we're saying to ourselves, and businesses are not in profit.
Mm.
It's huge to manage your business well to support your wealth. So some of the beliefs, you know, I'm trying to think off my head what are the kind of big strong ones. Let me think. You share some of yours and then I'll
I was
pop.
gonna, I was gonna just say, so if you think about, we've got the beliefs that, excuse me, can pop in relation to circulating money, spending money, there being a
Yes.
nuance between whether you're circulating or whether you're spending money, whether you're holding money or whether you are in that space of allowing money to come to you, so receiving money.
Yes. Yes. They all play out. So like a big one would be investing's risky.
Mm.
So they hold on to their money or they don't move forward with it. Um, Another biggie would be impulse spending is actually a big one as well, I see, where they're like, it's interesting. I had a lady as well that was really proud of herself that um she didn't ask her husband to support her to buy this car, so she went and bought it herself. But the car was an electric car and it was 1,500 per month to pay this off. And she was paying her financial freedom 150 per month, right?
Oh, wow.
So, like, it was very clear, like, where her priorities are with money. So, when people work with me, it's very clear they have data on what they're doing with their money. And it's so clear how somebody will say to you, I want financial freedom. But if you look black and white with their numbers, what they're doing with their money, what you're saying you want and what you're doing are opposite right now. And you need to shift this. And the insurance was like $800 per month. Like, imagine if she'd got that down, she bought herself a less expensive car, put that money towards her. Now you are creating and living financially. So people will say they want it, but look at what you're doing with your money. Look how you're showing up with money. Look at your relationship with money. Look at your patterns. Is this supporting you? Like, people will say, oh, like, living life to your values. Like, I'm totally driven by financial freedom. I created a business around it. I always traveled. I worked with horses when I was younger and then I would go travel. Like, I'm so driven by that. And everything I do, everything that comes out of my mouth, everything I do with my money is totally in alignment with that. And that's the big piece.
That's huge. And I really love how you've highlighted with that lady's experience, the dissonance between what we say we want and then how our behavior is really revealing what we're holding internally in terms of the subconscious. And one of the things that I see is where people are making that shift from moving to, so whether they are going from business owner to investor, or often, of course, navigating the two, and really being able to allow money to work for them rather than them having to work for the money. Because when the investments
Yeah.
are going well, money's working for you and you're receiving money. You've done the work already originally, but now you're receiving money without having to effort for it. It's a little bit like where musicians are getting royalties and they've done the work a while ago, and then they're allowed, they will allow themselves to keep receiving the income. There's so much wrapped up in there for people in terms of being able to feel really comfortable and that they deserve it and that they're worth it without having to keep working.
Worth it is such a big piece. Worthiness and money is huge. Yeah.
Yeah,
I see that
absolutely.
as well. And I you shared something really, really big as well about I gotta work hard for money. Like, letting go of that.
Yeah. I often see that with people where things are going really well and then they'll do something, which means that they get to then work again to be able to create the money. And often that bit comes up around where they need to embody the holding money piece and really expanding that. So let's move into that managing money piece, because that is in relation to holding money, and it's where lots of people, as you were saying, are in avoidance. They're getting stuck. So if someone's listening and they're like, right, we're making money, we're multi six figures, we're seven figures, the business is profitable, now what does an effective wealth system look like?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. So there's a couple of things. Just to kind of reverse engineer it a little bit. First of all, you need to know what is a wealthy life to me. So what is that vision I want that money to do for me? Because you make your decisions around your money. When the money leaves your bank account is how you create wealth. So you're making decisions around your money that when you're smart with money, all that money is going towards what a wealthy life it's to you. Regards, how do we manage the money? If you're a business owner, it's really important. You've the VAT, the income tax, the profit. That's really, really huge. But also, like one of the things I share, now this is personal, but I'll share it to business as well, is when I say this, people are quite shocked. But for personal, you want to get your expenses down to 50% of your income, and people don't realize that. Like in Ireland, for example, with VAT and all that, you actually need a 40% in your business, 40% expenses, and the 60% is going to, your wealth, your VAT, your income, and all that. So knowing how to divide up your money in a very smart way. So when you get I'll just talk about personal, just to kind of not make it too confusing. When you get your expenses down to 50% of your income, and it's more doable than people realize, what happens is you free up the money to have your fun pot, you free up the money to have your put towards your financial freedom, your savings, um, gifting others, all those things that give you meaning in your life. So if most people will pay everybody else before, like paying yourself first in time, money, and energy. It's not just the money. It's like, how am I living my wealthy life?
Mm.
And if you don't manage money, money will manage you.
That's like a mic drop there, I think, Lorna. That's so true. If you don't manage money, money will manage you. No one wants money to manage them.
No. And money works with a framework. A framework gives you freedom. When you know what's going in, what's going out, I'm directing it to what's important to me. Um, another part is the education piece. So having that in balance as well. Like I made all the mistakes with money. Like for example, I'll give you a few. For example, going heavy on the mentorship to the point where it's like, where's the money free to build the wealth, right? So that
Mm.
was a biggie for me. The other biggie was when I started to earn a bigger income in my business, not managing it. Like you go with the rose tinted glasses and you're like, oh, my life's going to be linear and it'll just come in like this all the time, and it doesn't. Um, so managing a variable income is huge as well. And I'll share this big piece about managing money too, is whether it's personal and business, they both need it. You need a cash safety net and you need emergency fund. One of the biggest mistakes people make with money is they rob their financial freedom
Tell us a little
because
bit
they
more so
don't
people
have
can.
the foundations in place, which is how you're taking care of your money and directing it. It's having emergency fund and cash safety nets. I always talk about um like debt prevention. So when you have savings and cash safety nets and all that, something big, a big expense happens to everybody in their life. Something you go through something. Everybody goes through something, a health crisis, job loss, divorce, business sucks, whatever, right? Um, when if you're managing your money well, it will support you to get through these harder times. And that supports your financial freedom because you don't rob yourself. The biggest thing that will happen is people rob their financial freedom. So you want to protect your money from you. And that's also having the right document and all in place, like insurances and wills and things like that. Yeah.
You said something very powerful there. Protect your money from you,
Yeah. It's
which
huge. It's
I,
it's the big elephant in the room, but you'll be surprised. I've had the conversations, and I've seen the consequences. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's really powerful because it is that it just speaks to the behaviors that we can default into when all those scenarios that you talked about that can happen for people along their life journey. I love how you just said business sucks, where there may be a plateau for whatever reason, markets changed, you haven't responded quickly enough, something's happened, you're feeling stressed in your personal life. That has a huge impact on whether you've got the kind of energy and the focus and the attention to keep driving and directing your business forward. And I love how you have spoken about directing money, because from my perspective, it's the energetics around how we direct our energy, because then where our attention is, that becomes our intention, and our intention is a superpower for manifesting and creating. And what I'm hearing you saying is that, so entrepreneurs, everyone's working hard to generate that income, but if they haven't got that strategy for keeping and growing it, then that is going to be where they're not able to really start to have that compound effect in getting money to work for them.
Yeah, and I've spoken with business owners that brought in plenty of money over their lifetime and they've nothing to show to it because what you do right now, no matter where you are in your journey, is the difference between you're gonna be secure for the future or not, or you're gonna
Mm.
live life on your terms or not. And I'm a big believer you get to live a life you love now as you secure your future. I think that's huge to say as well, because people see it as sacrifice. It's not sacrifice. It's just been
No.
smart. I'll share this because this is a biggie. I was on a credible podcast about 2 weeks ago with a lovely lady. She was my first mentor. She was making multiple six figures, and she shared with me, and you can hear this. She never paid herself first, and now is really working on this side. So this is a huge tip to any entrepreneur out there that's building a business. Pay you first over everybody else. I don't care what you have to negotiate with the creditors, just go do it, but you pay yourself first. Um, and do percentage is really biggie for variable income because if you do amount and then you don't have it that month, you're more likely to. It really is a decision. Like once you make that committed decision, and you can start with 1%, then 2%, 3%. You can sneak it up on yourself. There's a really good book on he talks about that. You can sneak it up on yourself because the brain doesn't see it. And before you know it, you're really building your wealthy life. So that is huge. Like, no
I
matter
love that.
where you are on your journey, like you're starting, you're in the middle, your expenses are more than, what's coming in, whatever, like you won't change your life until you're either in three habits. I'll just say this quickly. You're either in three habits with money. You're either breaking even, you're spending more than you have, or your wealthy habits. And once you're practicing those wealthy habits, you will have wealth and financial freedom.
I love that so much. And I think that that shift from it being a fixed amount to it being a percentage really helps people to not give themselves a reason to not make that payment and paying their assets first. And that's something that I wanted to highlight because I've heard so often people saying pay yourself first. And I have reflected with various conversations with clients on what does that actually mean, pay yourself first? When you're in that space of contraction and things aren't going in the nice flow direction that you want to. But actually paying your assets first, I think, is a more powerful way to say it because that's that way you're nurturing now and the future, your future version of yourself.
Yeah, and you put it on a platform, you can't touch it.
Yeah, oh, yes.
You
Hence,
want to, you
protect it
want
from
to,
yourself.
yeah, you want to be in your head. That's not available to me.
Mm,
It's
yeah,
not available. It's not available to go rob 3 weeks time, right? Um,
yeah,
yeah, it really is huge.
I love this. So assets, paying assets first, keeping yourself protected from yourself. So for if we think of, because I know people, the audience, we have investors, we have people who are at the earlier beginning of their journey in terms of investments. Where could someone start if they are at that beginning space of investing and building assets?
One of the best places to start is what they call index trackers. And the reason why that is because they're diversified, they're self-cleansing. Um, you really can't go wrong. Um, you do know what strategy to buy. Um, some of the key pieces is it's low fees,
Mhm.
it's diversified, um, and you allow that money to compound till this is another biggie actually. Um, you never touch your financial freedom till you hit your financial freedom number.
I
So
love
if
it.
you feast off it too early, you rob your financial freedom and it won't. And when you're feeding off your financial freedom, you have a certain capital mass that's still growing and you're feeding off the rest, so it never runs out. So it's really so two really golden rules are pay your assets first. Yeah, pay yourself first. To me, that's pay your assets first. Otherwise, money's not being put to work. The second thing is once an asset, always an asset. So you do not touch that till you hit your financial freedom number. They're the two biggies that you can take away from today.
I think those are absolutely key, because they are key mindset and energetic shifts that will help people to implement the strategy regardless of the noise that's going on, and to be able to then ultimately have that financial freedom. I think it's one of those things, isn't it? Everyone talks about wanting to be financially free, and then the behavior that we, because our subconscious, as we've spoken about before, is going to prove yourself 100% right in the programming that we have. And this is why it's so important to make sure we're doing this inner work all the time, so that we can have that financial freedom by paying our assets first all the time, regardless of what we're seeing in our reality, and not touching that pot. And I love that behavior that you put around it to protect yourself from touching it by making it inaccessible.
It's huge. But it's amazing when you make a committed decision to something, how you will shift your, like, I'm a big believer. I mean, you can talk to this more, Louisa. Action and mindset go hand in hand. The action will pull up what needs to come up in the mindset to move forward, and then the mindset work support you to do the action. So it's a huge piece, and I love what reveals from what's coming up for you if you're not actioning these really crucial pieces, like what you said in the beginning. Everybody must do this at some time in their life.
Mm,
You
absolutely.
you gotta set yourself up securely. There's um we're in an age like people are living longer. What the government offers is not going to sustain people anymore. It's really huge. And if you're bringing in that great income, most people are bringing in, have brought a lot of money, have gone through their hands over the years. But what are you doing with it?
That was very key what you said there. It's gone through their hands.
Yes.
It's literally like, if when there's an exercise I get people to do where we look at how much money has gone through your hands since you first, started your entrepreneur business. And most people are millionaires, but by the time that I'm working with them, already from whatever has gone through their hands. And if they had had different strategies that held onto the money, paid their assets first, their financial reality would be very different now. This is why this is so important. It's not too late. Like, get started now. And of course, all our investors that are listening, it's like, what is the nugget here in terms of the shift, so that you can allow yourself to receive even more, without
That's
having to work
another
harder.
biggie. You've just made me think of another biggie regards mindset is people think this is a biggie. I'm not in the right place now with my money to invest. You are. I don't care what's going on, you are. I think that's huge. And I'll give you a little story to demonstrate that. So when I started my journey, COVID had hit. I just had a bit sick, a baby born, I don't know, about 2 months. So there was no job to go back to. I had parked my first business. Didn't know what I was going to do with myself. Didn't know where income was coming in. And I decided, note the word, decided, committed decision to pay myself first and start my wealth journey. And when you do that, the world, the universe, as soon as you make a decision that's for you, it conspires for it to work. And I think trusting that is huge.
Absolutely. I love that. When you make a decision for you, the universe conspires to work with you. Absolutely true. And you're just energetically supported then.
Yeah.
Yeah, which makes things so much easier. This is such an important conversation. I could chat to you all day for this. We'll have to around this. We'll have to get you to come back. But I would love for people to know how they can come and find you, because this is so key. So do tell us where the listeners can be able to, if they're ready to take that next step in building that true wealth and financial freedom, where can they learn more about your work, and where do you hang out, Lorna?
The best thing to do is find my name, Lorna Poole, Poole, and LinkedIn, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger. Just reach out. I'm here. Um,
Oh,
that's the easiest way. Yeah, I'm always quite active in the DMs, so go reach out there. Yeah, that's the best place.
thank you so much. And I know you've got a freebie. I was just having a look here. Tell us a little bit about your freebie, because I think that is going to be very helpful for people. Would love people to grab that. Where can they get
Yeah,
that? What
I
is it?
I have the financial freedom bundle, which is usually actually a paid thing. So it gives you wealth creation training, tools, resources. There's access to a wealth and financial freedom training, which talks about the assets and what you actually need to invest in. Insider's Guide to Investing. Design Your Wealthy Life, which supports you to know, well, what do I want this money for? Really important to get clear on that. And also in there is the Time to Freedom Predictor, which actually shows you how much you need and by what timeline. And that is huge because when you know that, it's just plugging the gap. Also in there, how to stop living paycheck to paycheck, shifting your relationship with money, and there's a piece on managing money too. So it's really worth getting.
That's incredible. That, like, I'm not surprised it's normally paid. So thank you so much for giving that as a free gift to our listeners. And thank you so much, Lorna, for sharing your wisdom today. I know there's so much more to this conversation, and so please do. We'll get you to come back because if you're up for it, because we would love to have you back. And for everyone listening, I encourage you to take one action from today's conversation. You know, whether it's reviewing your money systems, of course, it includes downloading Lorna's freebie, starting to think about paying your assets first, and really shifting what is that subtle nuance around that's being asked to come forward around shifting your mindset around wealth creation for that next level of financial empowerment, and ultimately for the legacy that we're all here to build. Thank you so much, Lorna, for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been incredible.
And for everyone listening, if you've loved this episode, then be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and of course, share it with a friend who needs to hear this conversation and needs to start paying their assets first. And until next time, let's keep expanding into infinite prosperity. Sending you lots and lots of love. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Infinite Prosperity podcast. Want to go deeper? Join my upcoming complimentary Wealth Energetics Masterclass. We'll pop the link in the show notes for you, and I would love to see you there. Till next time, lots of love.